There's a psychological phenomenon that makes INTJs naturally intimidating to everyone around them. This isn't about being rude or aggressive, it's something far more sinister. If you can't handle the dark truth about INTJ psychology, skip now. What I'm about to reveal explains why people get nervous around INTJs, why conversations feel like interrogations, and why everyone assumes INTJs are judging them. This isn't personality quirks. This is psychological warfare happening on an unconscious level. The dark secret is that INTJs operate like human psychological scanners, and everyone can feel it happening to them. Here's what's really going on. INTJs don't just listen to conversations. They're running continuous background analysis on everything you say, how you say it, and what you're not saying. People sense this invisible examination, and it triggers their psychological defense systems. The INTJ stare isn't just intense eye contact, it's data collection. While you're talking, INTJs are cataloging inconsistencies, noting micro-expressions, and building psychological profiles in real time. Their brain is literally dissecting you during normal conversation, and your subconscious feels hunted. Most people communicate for social bonding. INTJs communicate for information extraction. They ask follow-up questions that feel like gentle interrogations. They remember details you forgot you mentioned. They connect patterns in your behavior that you didn't realize existed. This makes people feel psychologically naked. The intimidation comes from predictive accuracy. INTJs don't just analyze what you've said, they calculate what you're likely to do next. When they casually mention something you were thinking about doing or predict your reaction to situations, it feels supernatural. People fear being that readable. INTJs have what psychologists call high pattern recognition intelligence. They see systems, motivations, and outcomes that others miss. In social situations, this means they're operating with information advantage while everyone else is playing blind. The power imbalance is terrifying. Here's the darkest part. INTJs often know your insecurities before you admit them to yourself. They spot the gaps between who you pretend to be and who you actually are. They see through social masks, fake confidence, and carefully constructed personas. People feel exposed without understanding why. The INTJ silence is psychological pressure. While others feel uncomfortable pauses with chatter, INTJs let silence do the work. They know silence makes people reveal more than questions do. This strategic use of quiet creates anxiety in others who feel compelled to keep talking, revealing more than they intended. INTJs naturally mirror psychological profiling techniques. They ask seemingly innocent questions that actually map your psychological landscape. How do you usually handle stress? Sounds casual, but they're building a psychological blueprint of your vulnerabilities and coping mechanisms. The most intimidating aspect is emotional detachment during analysis. INTJs can discuss your psychological patterns like you're a fascinating case study rather than a person. This clinical approach to human behavior makes others feel like specimens under a microscope. People fear the INTJ database. INTJs remember psychological patterns, behavioral inconsistencies, and emotional triggers from months ago. They build comprehensive psychological files on everyone they interact with regularly. Others sense they're being cataloged, and it feels invasive. The intimidation isn't intentional, it's inevitable. INTJs can't turn off their analytical processing any more than others can stop breathing. They're genuinely trying to understand people, but their method of understanding feels like psychological dissection to the person being analyzed. Now you understand why people get uncomfortable around INTJs. It's not personal rejection. It's psychological self-preservation. People instinctively protect themselves from being too thoroughly understood. If you're an INTJ, recognize that your natural analysis mode intimidates others. You can soften this by sharing your thought process occasionally, asking permission before deep questions, and remembering that most people prefer emotional connection over psychological accuracy. If you're dealing with an INTJ, understand they're not trying to judge you. They're trying to understand you. Their intensity comes from genuine curiosity, not malicious intent. The INTJ intimidation factor is really intelligence weaponized through pattern recognition. They see psychological systems others can't perceive, making them seem almost psychic. Remember, INTJs aren't trying to be intimidating. They're just naturally equipped with psychological X-ray vision, and everyone can feel those invisible scans happening during every interaction.